Cash is king and credit is power. Meaning cash can get you a lot of things in life, but it takes a lot of work for you to get cash. With credit, credit is power, meaning that you can take control of finances. You can take control of assets without a lot of cash. You don't need money to really start a business. You don't need money to buy a car. You don't need money to purchase a home. At the end of the day, when you have a solid credit profile, you can leverage that profile to be able to use other people's money. And when I say other people's money, I mean the banks. The banks have billions and billions of dollars, and they're giving billions of dollars every day, but they are only giving it to qualified individuals. And if you don't have the credit to show that you are qualified, then you're not going to fit in that pool of people that will be able to leverage that asset.
Let's learn how our next guest gets up, dress up, and show up on purpose. Enjoy the episode. Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lunid Lewis. And today I have the honor of introducing a phenomenal guest to the show, Michael Charles. So Michael is the founder of RSC, Credit Freedom Solutions. Now, he helps people understand and improve their credit, achieve their financial goals through credit repair services. So we're talking business credit and financing. His mission is to debunk the myth around credit and guide others to the financial journey. And that is absolutely well needed. Now, Michael and I share something in common. We're both Haitian. He grew up himself. We've all around the 3 L's, as he calls it, la caille, l'école, and l'église, which means you go home, you go to school, and you go to church. And so it's kind of like the ultimate Haitian trifecta that his mom lived by. And this trio helped Michael's worldview around home taught him to the essence of family, school understood the importance of learning, and church instilled the faith and gratitude. So I'm very honored to hear about his morning routine, his business. So with no further ado, Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey there, how you going? How you doing? I appreciate that, and that introduction was lovely. I couldn't do it better myself, so thank you. Um,
Absolutely.
mm.
We love a hero's journey and love to know how you got here. We were talking earlier offline, and you said, you had to hit the pause button on life essentially because life was going so fast for you. And so tell us about the journey on how you become the founder of RSC. What led you to make that, to start that business?
Like you said offline, we talked about how my life was really going nowhere fast,
Yeah.
just living the fast lifestyle, just being living paycheck to paycheck, and going that route, and realizing at an early age that this is not life. This is not what I expected to, and this is not what my parents also expected me to go through. For to really struggle throughout my 20s, 30s, and 40s as I get older. So
Yeah.
I took a pause in life, like you said, and that pause was to reflect on what was important. So finding a career. So I did the career path. I did the 9 to 5 type of job thing. So I was very committed, a hard worker. Actually, I dedicated my hard work towards my job to what my parents did. So
Mm.
seeing them doing the best that they can, working all the hours of their lives, really to provide and support, and I saw that in myself. So I got a job. I was made sure I was the best at what I was doing. I made sure I
Yeah.
was always there. I made sure I was on time. I did all the right things, but I also still realized that I was still going nowhere. I was only able to make enough to survive. I was only able enough to pay my bills. I was only able to make enough to what my employers wanted me to make.
Right.
And I realized that I really needed to take control of my own life. So I began to dig in deep into what I really want to do. So when I first bought my home, that's when I was introduced to credit, to be honest.
The
When I bought
power
my
of it.
home. the power of credit, because I realized the amount my home cost and how much I really had to put down. So I found a really good realtor that really walked me through the steps and everything that I needed, and really to show and establish, because I had a high credit score to begin with, but I really didn't have a credit mix or a credit profile. So a lot of
Mhm.
people think that when you have a high score, that's all you need and you can get anything that you want. In reality, that's really not the truth. You actually have to have a strong profile. You have to have revolving credit. You have to have installment loans and those things. And I did not have that. So me going in, I did not know that. So again, the realtor that I was working with really help guide me through the steps and understanding what I really needed to do. So I took time to develop that. And when I was able to buy my home at a very early age, I was 26 at the time, relatively early. Some people have done it before earlier than me. So,
Mhm.
not going to take that away from anybody, but relatively early. So 26 was able to buy my first home. I started to, again, understand the value of credit and educating myself. And I had family members that didn't have so much credit. And when I bought my home, they came to me, and I was able to, again, work with them and realize, okay, you can manipulate this, you can do this, and then started to, basically go through YouTube University. At the
Mhm.
end of the day, that was my first teacher
Yeah.
into credit and understanding the dispute process. And then this year, I decided to really make it official as a business
Mm.
and make it, and helping families for so many years, helping friends for so many years, and even myself, in the process of building and growing my credit. I decided again to make it into a business. And when I began making it into a business, I started to expand my reach and expand my experiences to other people. So at this point in my career, I'm just showing my personal experiences into the world and really providing value that way.
That is phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that. It really sometimes comes out of experience that we define a need and realize there's a lot more people that need our services, and kind of dives into what your purpose is, right? Because then that leads you to fulfill, just help others in that space. Now I know you have the epiphany that cash is king, and we hear that a lot. And
Mhm.
from our parents, it's really true. Like even when they're entrepreneurs, they just believe like they need cash and cash is better to, they don't believe in, it's taboo to have credit lines and to have credit out there. So for you, not only do you believe cash is king, but you say credit is power, right? So enlighten us in that statement. What do you mean by that, and how powerful can that be towards financing, getting a home, and all that other stuff?
Cash is king and credit is power. Meaning cash can get you a lot of things in life, but it takes a lot of work for you to get cash. With credit, credit is power, meaning that you can take control of finances. You can take control of assets without a lot of cash. You don't need money to really start a business. You don't need money to buy a car. You don't need money to purchase a home. At the end of the day, when you have a solid credit profile, you can leverage that profile to be able to use other people's money. And when I say other people's money, I mean the banks. The banks have billions and billions of dollars, and they're giving billions of dollars every day. But they are only giving it to qualified individuals. And if you don't have the credit to show that you are qualified, then you're not going to fit in that pool of people that would be able to leverage that asset. I can put myself as an example as a business. I decided to open another business, a car rental business, and I was able to leverage my credit to purchase multiple cars at one time with zero money down. And the moment I purchased those cars, I was able to leverage those vehicles and turn them from liabilities into asset. Renting those cars out, I get a monthly paycheck for those cars. And though that monthly paycheck pays for those vehicles, the term policies on those vehicles, and it actually adds extra income in my pocket. So leveraging credit allowed me to do that. Leveraging credit also allowed me to expand my business, being able to invest in my business in a ways that I wouldn't be able to do it by using my own cash.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that, like, if I needed an extra $50,000, I was able to go to the bank and apply for a no doc loan, a loan that really only required my credit score to be able to get $50,000 or $100,000. There are possibilities out there that are really endless. And having a strong profile allowed me to do that, where I was able to go to the bank and, on top of being able to purchase those vehicles, I was able to go to the bank and get an extra $50,000 to be able to start another business.
Yeah.
And And that is the power of credit. At the end of the day, that's really what I drive to people is like, if you focus on that, the road is endless.
Right. On the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And when you say credit is power, we're talking about in that your profile is strong. We're talking about diversifying your profile, right? So we want to have more assets. And so for you, it's getting the turning the vehicles from a liability to an asset, getting a home, right? Turning that into an asset. So let's talk about how can one diversify their profile some more.
If you're in the stages of where you're building your credit, obviously a lot of things are closed off to you. So you're not able to just, start a credit profile and be able to go get $100,000 car or be able to get a home. It takes time to really build. And that's something that people, want to need to know and learn. It takes time to build. There are builder programs out there that they can start growing their profile. So if you have the cash, right? So rather than you use your cash to buy a car, go get a loan for a car and use that cash to make the payments every month. Don't worry about the interest rate. If you actually start building your credit, the interest rates really are slim to none to the point to where you are not even impacted on that end. Get a car loan, get a credit card, get approved for a pre-approval credit card. It's a great credit card to start off. If you don't have any credit at all, is Discover It. And Discover It it's really great as all yeah in a whole because let's say for instance you don't have a profile at all, you can qualify for a Discover It secured credit card, and if you maintain a good routine with making your payments within 6 months, turns into an actual credit card, and those credit cards earn you points and values that are way positive to be able to grow a savings account. It's not a savings account, but sorry, grow a savings at the end of the day. So you use points because I use points to travel.
Right.
I've established numbers of credit cards and I have a credit card for everything that I do. I have a credit card for grocery shopping. I have a credit card for flights. I have a credit card for repairs on my car, all those credit cards. And I've, educated myself and realized, oh, this card gives me 4x points for using it on travel points. So travel. So I would get 4x points. So imagine being able to buy your tickets, and then by the end of the year, if you really calculate all the points that you gathered, you earned a free trip to a private island. You have earned a free Disney World trip. You've earned a free rental. You've earned something at the end of the day, and that's just using something that you're doing something that you're already going to do.
Yeah, yeah. Flying to San Francisco next week, and it's all on points. It's really amazing how once you smart enough about these points and how to leverage it and use that knowledge, right? Knowledge is power when you know how to apply it,
Mhm.
essentially. And so being able to use the points to fly out is great. Even Amazon, like business card. I have a business card right now where using points to shop. Yeah, your points become dollar amounts. And it's like, oh, I have $300 to spend that's coming from the points. And it's really fascinating to know that you're keeping more of your money. So if you get really smart and know how to, as you say, navigate this space, it can really it work to your benefit for real. There is something that I heard about, and you mentioned the cars earlier, and I want to touch base with you. Dealerships have trade-ins that they do get and that they sell off to auctions,
Mhm.
and you can, as a person, sometimes go in and see if they'll sell you one, and then
Yeah.
you could then sell it to others. Is that right? Is that right?
That is
Confirmation.
correct. That is correct. And that's also being open to. While I was at a dealership purchasing those cars, I was able to talk to the salesperson. They would give me the ins and out of opportunities and little things that dealerships really don't tell you up front or
Right.
tell the regular consumer up front on how you get deals on cars, on how to get a car for a cheaper price, on how dealerships have 90 days to get rid of a brand new car. If they keep the car for more than 90 days, it's actually a loss on their end because they're paying off the loan company that they're borrowing the money from. So because they don't actually own the brand new cars. But to what you were saying, as far as the auctioning off, yes, that is very true. And if you have a connection, you're able to be able to get into that field. I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Mhm.
fascinating. That's one way to increase your assets. Now let's talk about housing. I did hear about the construction loan. Like you can get a loan that will help you flip a house, fix it at the bank's dime, and it's none of your money. And let's dive into that because I think a lot of people are aware of that perk.
Yeah, yeah. With a construction loan, the house doesn't have to be built yet. It's based off the value of the home. So if the value of the home, once it's complete, shows that it's going to, be the worth it, then the bank's willing to pay for it to be built, and that can be a quick flip. And that again requires credit to be able to leverage and to be able to use those type of loans because banks are not going to be willing just to give it to just anybody, and it's not going to be based off of the value of the loan. It's going to be based off of the person that's attempting to do the loan too. So if your credit profile is strong enough or in a place to be able to do that, you can leverage a construction loan or many other loans, even a hard money loan. You can do that. And actually, that's a different conversation altogether because hard money loans are quick movement, are quick, and I know they are high interest loans, but there's ways to get into that also and leverage the value of a home without a lot of your money too. So, but yes, with a construction loan, you don't really need any money at all to do that. If you have a plot of land, if you have a somewhere you can actually purchase that land and go to the bank and request for a home that's not even built yet.
Mm-hmm. Very insightful. Now, there's what else do they look for? Because you're saying the credit score alone is not what they look for, because you can easily fall into the trap of debt,
Yes.
right? Which is what you do, the credit freedom solutions. You help clients get out of it. It's very easy to fall into that trap if you have multiple credit cards. There's a notion that you should pay them all off every month. And let's talk about that. What is the realistic expectation? Do you pay, if you have 7 credit cards, do you have to pay them all off every month at whatever you use? Making payments as long as they're not late. How do you navigate this with making payments monthly so that if you buy something for say $1,000 and you don't have $1,000 to pay it off right away, how does it impact your credit and your profile as we're talking about?
If we're talking about credit cards as a whole, credit cards are definitely a major impact to your credit card because to your credit score because they impact your debt to income ratio. Sorry, not your debt income, your utilization ratio. So your credit cards impact your utilization ratio, so which accounts for 35% of your credit score. If you're overusing your credit cards and not paying them off monthly or not paying a big chunk of those balances monthly, it will impact your score and it will lower your approval value overall. The average, which a lot of people say is 30%.
30%, yeah,
The
under.
average for your utilization, and that's cumulatively amongst all your cards together, you want to keep it below 30%. Me personally, I recommend between 10 to 15%. The reason being, if you're at 10 to 13% of your utilization, you're not showing that you're overusing your credit and you're not staying at that bare minimum, that fine line, because 30% is that fine line. You want to be further away from that. So we don't want to get in the mindset to where we want to be just average. We want to be above average. And so when you are above average, your profile is above average. Your lending approval is above average, where you would go to, if you're sticking yourself at 30%, you would go to a bank and you would get qualified for a credit card for maybe only $1,000 or $500. With an above average profile, you will now get qualified for 10,000, 15,000, or 20,000. I've had a client of mine with very low utilization, and one day was able to get $35,000 on 2 cards. I was able to help her structure her profile, help her find the right banks to go to be able to get qualified for those types of loans. There's banks that literally will give you $25,000 right off the bat, and that's built off of that's built off of some steps that you have to take, building a relationship with that bank, and just having some time with that bank, and then be qualified and then applying for a credit card. They will give you up to $25,000.
How long
And
does it take to build that relationship?
Doesn't take long at all. As far as a relationship with a bank, it's as long as it's stronger the more accounts that you have, and two, when every month they have a bank rating on you, and banks really operate in a 30 sorry, not a 30-day, sorry, a 90-day cycle, to where they grade you. Like, have you had any deposits or withdrawals going through? Are you overdrafting every month? Are you keeping a solid amount of money in your account? There are certain ratings that they go through, and they process you through. That obviously doesn't show on your credit report, or doesn't show anywhere else, but it shows in that bank. So when you do ask them for money, they will look back at you and be like, okay, how do you treat the relationship with us, versus us just giving you money for free.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, interesting to know. And I was asking along the line of time frame. I do imagine it's a couple of months. It'll take 6 to plus months to fix your credit, because it's the recurring payments. It's that, again, that relationship process. How long do you see, especially with some of the clients that you work? What's the process like average?
For if there's it's dependent on the person. The average time, let's say if we're doing credit repair, one of my main businesses is credit repair, and those are individuals that just ran into some hard times, ran into situations where it wasn't beneficial to them. Maybe they had a couple of late payments, or they had charge-offs or collections, or things that they just couldn't afford to pay anymore. And the average time for a credit profile to be repaired is 3 to 6 months. I would also say the average time to build and structure a credit profile would be 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Having the right accounts on your profile also allows you to be able to grow that a lot faster. So getting into credit building programs, they have creditbuilder.com, which is a program you make a monthly payment, and they put a trade line on your profile, and that trade line will start reporting on your credit report. And having that show for 3 months, having that show for 6 months will even strengthen your profile to the point to where it develops a history, and the history itself is another portion of your credit profile that impacts your score. So having credit history, having good credit utilization, having on-time payments, having low inquiries on your credit report, having not so many new accounts, those five things impact your score as a whole. Each have their own ratio of impact, but they all impact your score altogether. So 3 to 6 months will be the average time to repair your credit. On top of that, it'll be 3 to 6 months to build and boost your credit.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good to know for those who are listening. Now, we know companies can file for bankruptcy, individuals as well, if they have too much credit. Talk to us about that, what that looks like. And I've also, I think it's like 7 years before you can get a charge off of your credit report, your credit score. Let's talk about that to long term repair.
Yes. It is 7 years is the time to have those things taken off on your report, if you allow it to stay on there for that long. If you do nothing about it. At the end of the day, if you do nothing, yes, those are the guidelines. But you, as a consumer, you have rights. You have the opportunity to dispute anything and everything off of your credit report. You will Actually, I compare credit disputing as basically going to court, the court of law. So when you go to court, there is guilty and not guilty. There's no such thing as guilty and innocent when you go to court. So when you are in the dispute process, think of it as court, and you put the burden of proof on the creditors and the credit agency's end. Meaning that if you say that this debt is illegally reporting on my report, or this bankruptcy should not be showing on my report because of certain laws, which there are laws that you do have that does restrict credit agencies from reporting those things from your report. By you going out and saying that, you allow them to go out, use their manpower, use their employees to
Mhm.
dispute, to actually challenge that. For you, it doesn't cost you anything because you have consumer rights. So if you guys look up the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they're there to protect you. And the laws that you have power over are listed all on there. And by you taking advantage of those laws, you can have a process to where you force the credit agencies to remove those things off your credit report. Again, not saying that you did not file for bankruptcy, not saying that you did not, not pay your phone bill, or you have this charge off, or you have this late payment, but again, you put the burden of proof on the agencies to actually find out if it really is true or not. And if they are not able to find that, then by law they have to remove that, which puts you in a position to even have a profile to again to where you have less negative items reporting on it. So as a credit repair specialist, I'm able to dissect your profile. I'm able to go through and see what's there and what shouldn't be there, what is reported incorrectly, what is not supposed to be reported on your credit report, and dispute those things with the agencies to go ahead and remove that. And as far as late payments, that's something I know a lot of people struggle with that. And there's a law in it's 1681 66B 666B. That law itself states that timing of payment should not be reported on your report. So if a creditor, if AT&T, if Verizon, or any credit card company were to report your your late payment, by you going to the agencies and stating that law, they themselves will have to abide, and they would have to remove it, because you know your rights as a consumer. If you don't say anything, they're just going to leave it because it's in their power, right? And by you leaving it on your credit report, it makes your credit look even worse. And by your credit being bad, guess what? Your interest rates are going to be higher on any loan that you apply for. It's going to cost you more money and make them more money by your credit report being bad. So for you not doing anything, you're putting money in their pockets. So of course they're going to report it. But by you standing out and actually saying something and doing something about it, they're forced to remove it. So by them removing it, they're going to be losing money. They don't want you to know that information. So of course that information is not told or free, or not free, but that information is actually free. That information is not advertised. Late payments are not supposed to be reported on your credit report. Again, it's 1681, 1666B, timing of payments. If you guys look that up, it will take you to a site that will actually list all of the things that are not supposed to be reported on your credit report based off of late payments.
Yeah, and then you just go ahead and tell the bureau, or you call the creditor and let them know to remove that.
You can actually do both. You can dispute it directly with the creditor, or you can dispute it with the bureau. I don't like to use the word bureau too much. They're actually agencies. So we're talking about Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. They're agencies. Bureaus are government agents, government owned. Those are what bureaus. When you go on a .gov website, that is a bureau. When you go to Experian, it is .com. When you go to Equifax, it is .com. They are agencies. They are not bureaus. So for you, that's what the fallacy out there is, that they have power. They are just a regular company that has employees they have employees that they're paying paychecks to, and they're gaining money. They're actually making a profit off of your credit profile. By creditors pay to report to your profile. Why do you think it costs money to run your credit?
Your report.
Well, your report. That's how they get paid. So they have a reason to report negative things off your report, off your credit report, because the more negative things that's on your credit report, the more your credit is going to be pulled, the more you're going to need them. So again, when it comes to those agencies, you can dispute with them. They are third party. They are not the one that are creating the reports. They're not the ones that are creating the information. They're just gathering the information. And who says that they have the right to gather information on you? Did you give them permission to gather information on you? You didn't. So
Right.
when you know your rights again, with certain laws out there, and be like, hey, I didn't give you permission to dispute report report this collections on my report on my and hey, do you have the contracts? Do you have proof of these information? Do you have my signature? Disputing those items, disputing those things allow you to have them removed, have the possibility of them removed. Let's say, for instance, that you request that they provide you information on the contract that you signed to say that you owe this debt. If they're not able to provide that information, they have to remove it by law. And again, all of that can be found on CFPB. So on the CFPB.gov website, which is a government
Mhm.
ran company or business, which has power over those agencies, that tells you that you as a consumer have rights and you can step up and you can say something about it. If you decide not to step up, you decide to sit in a pool of debt. You decide to sit in a pool of misinformation on your profile, and that's your choice as a consumer. But you do have a choice to stand up and say something.
Yeah, very, very good that you shared that. And for payments, for late payments, it's not something that just goes away immediately either. Like it really it prolongs for a long, like years on your credit, affecting your credit score. Even after
Mhm.
you clean everything up, you are now in good standing. That they're still driving every decision, or your credit score is still reflecting that from like 5, 6 years ago.
Agreed. And that's why I recommend that as soon as possible that you remove it if you can. Remove it directly with the creditor if you can, or go to the credit agencies and have it removed because it does impact your credibility. Your credibility. Those things over time will just make things harder and harder for you. So having those things reported will not be beneficial for you. So I do agree that you take things into your own hand and really step up and do that and dispute it. And it's as easy as just submitting a letter out and or just reaching out to somebody who knows what they're doing and finding out help or seeking out help. I stay by this statement a lot. Ignorance is an expensive cost. Not knowing something can cost you a lot. So when you don't know something, reach out to somebody that does. Find a mentor. Find somebody that is as experienced in the case. Going back to court of law, when you're going to court for whatever reason, you don't go there by yourself. A lot
That's
of people
true.
tell you that it's not wise. That's not a wise decision. So I do recommend that you find somebody that knows the things. You don't have to live with debt. You don't have to live with bad credit. Those are things that can be changed within a matter of months if you take the right steps forward, and making those decisions to repair your credit.
Yeah, and that's where RSC comes in, right? Providing that guidance, that support, especially for those who are unaware of the laws, the rules, their rights when it comes to this space. So tell us a little bit more about how Credit Freedom Solutions work, how RSC works. How do you work with clients to actually provide this freedom?
Well, as far as the steps into it, I provide a free consultation call to where I listen in and see what are your goals, what are your dreams, what are things that are impacting you, what are the things that are stopping you from doing that, and whatever I can do in my power as a credit repair specialist, I will do for you. And I don't only provide a credit repair process for you to where I dispute things with the credit bureaus on your behalf, and I also assist in credit boosting and credit literacy, teaching you how to leverage your credit, having a one-on-one with you on a monthly basis, talking through on advantages that you can take with now you don't have a late payment on your credit report, or with you not having this charge off of collections. I provide those services for you to where you're able to now get into a place of approval rather than denials. So a lot of people, they come to me, there's like, I'm tired of getting denied. I'm tired of not being able to get approved for this house. So I'm tired of getting 20% interest rates on cars, and or having to go to buy now, sorry, those, what are those dealerships that are called? Buy now, pay here cars? I can't remember.
No
So
credit needed. Those then they yeah, no
yeah, those
credit
cars.
needed.
no credit needed where you're paying 20 or 30% interest on those cars. I'm
Yeah.
tired of having to do that. And they come to me and I provide assistance, again, the literacy, the lessons that I've gone through to be able to teach me to get away from that type of life. My first car was a 30% car. I was a teenager at that time. No, I was in my 20s at that time. Was 30%. Never again. Never be put in position. I've told myself never to be put in that in position again. And to this day, again, I'm able to now walk on the car lot and get a 3% loan and or be able to get buy two cars at one time with no money down. Being able to leverage my credit is a powerful tool, and I allow people the opportunity to invest in themselves. And stop putting things off and allowing things to wait 7 years. What are you sacrificing waiting 7 years to have those things taken off in your credit report? And who's to say something else is not going to pop up in your credit report to where you now have to wait an additional 7 years? So taking action now is very important, and it's the right thing to do. Take action now, because 7 years is going to pass where you do it or you don't do it. It's what are you doing in that time frame? What are you wanting to accomplish in that time frame?
Yeah, well put. Let's talk about your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up? What's your morning routine like?
My morning routine, it has recently changed. I used to not be a morning person, so but now I'm getting to a place to where waking up early in the morning, meditating, praying. I always start my morning with God. Is something that I find very imperative in my life. If you start your morning on God, He will always be with you as you walk throughout the day. So I take that with pride. Reading books, that is something that I've actually started to do. I've never been a book reader as a whole. I've always been the audiobook person driving in the car. But with COVID, it limited my driving, so I stopped listening to things. So it's been hard to get back on that routine. So now I wake up in the morning, I find a motivational book. I find a book where I can learn or where I can educate myself. And I start that, let's say I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I dedicate 30 minutes to doing that. After doing that, getting the kids ready for school, which, is hard in its own right. So
Mm-hmm.
getting the kids ready for school and getting them out and going from there, having a coffee, sitting in the backyard and relaxing, and getting my day started. If I have profiles to work on, I'll work on those profiles. If I have social media posts to do, I'll work on the social media posts. So just getting myself organized is really something I'm still working on. Organization is a struggle for me, but I'll be honest with you. But it's definitely something that is key and golden to success that I've
Yeah,
realized.
it sets the tone for the day. Have you had days where the day gets away from you, it gets a little hectic, and you don't get the opportunity to do the reading or do the meditation or do the prayer? Do you feel the difference, yeah, energy wise or prioritizing? Does it get a little chaotic?
100%.
Yeah.
Where it can take one thing to take you off track, and something that you just told yourself to dedicate for an hour. You now I've been doing for 3 hours or 4 hours because you've got distracted, or you allowed the phone call to take you away from that, and now you're adding something else to your plate. One key thing that helped me out is my Sundays. I've actually spend my Sundays writing down my to-do list for the entire week and having that posted or having that somewhere on the wall to where I know what I need to accomplish. So I don't allow the day to get away from me, because when the day does get away from you, it gets away and you feel like you've not done anything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it helps with decision fatigue too, that list that you put together. Because then if you've already, sometimes people say the morning routine starts the night before. It's like preparing for the next day. That way, when you wake up, you don't have to make all these decisions or trying to decide, what am I going to do? What should I work on now? It's right in front of you to get started, so you don't experience that decision fatigue piece of it.
That is 100%. It's just like meal preps. Everybody does meal preps. It's the same thing. You prepare your week, and if you prepare your week, you won't feel as fatigued. So
Yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
I agree. Tell us, where can we connect with you? Where can we find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms. I'm on Instagram primarily, but I am on Facebook, TikTok. It's under Michael C242. That is my handle. My website is, rsccreditfreedomsolutions.com. is my website. You guys can reach out. If you guys would like to book a consultation on any of those platforms, you reach out, DM me. I'm open in the DMs. And it's not an assistant and it's not a computer generated response. I am there. I'm there to answer questions to help you out, help you guys out. On my website, you can, there's a book now to where you can get a free consultation where we sit down on a Zoom call. We talk through everything that you, all the challenges that you have and what we can work out with and what we can do as a financial literacy coach and also as a credit repair specialist to better your life.
That's fantastic. Michael, it's been such a pleasure having you. Thank you for sharing. I'm really, really glad that we got this opportunity.
Definitely, definitely. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Perfect.
Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please comment and tell us what was your favorite part, your favorite habit that you are going to try out for yourself today. Comment below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Until next time, I will see you at the top of your best morning routine ever. Stay blessed.